I have become very obsessed. We should probably change the subject, Darren, because I'd happily hijack the conversation about table tennis for the next few minutes.
Yeah, go on then. You've had your table tennis out of the way.
First ever proper job. I was a McDonald's manager for 5 years.
Oh yes.
And of course that was baptism of fire from a leadership and management perspective.
Was there any part of you that thought this seems too good to be true?
Another great question. I didn't know anything about multi-level marketing or network marketing at the time.
So, what is the potential with utility warehouse?
Yeah, no, that's another good question. When I started, I only could do 2 to 5 hours a week.
Welcome to the latest episode of the Engaging Marketeer. I am joined by my old friend, that's acceptable, old friend Sauren Ghosh of Utility Warehouse. I've known Sauren for 10, 12?
Over 10 years, I think now.
Well over 10 years,
yeah.
Isn't it? When I think we first met at a Utility Warehouse training.
I think it was.
I think it was.
That was about 2011 or 12.
Well, I thought it was even older than that, to be honest. I thought it was older than that. So you've joined me here to talk about how you can help people and what it is that you do and why you do it, which is quite interesting as well. So first of all, why do you do what you do?
Great. Well, great question.
Well, I tried to ask great questions.
I'll tell you why I do, why I don't do what I used to do. And
that's a politician's answer.
It is, yes.
Let me answer the question that I want to be asked rather than the one that you've asked me.
Well, it kind of helps me, but I realised early on that I didn't really want to be employed.
Right.
So I think after a few years of being employed and told what to do, when I was made redundant and I developed an IT training business, I realised that I loved working for myself. And with the utility warehouse, there's various different facets of it that we may discuss. One of the things that I love is helping and coaching people. And one of my goals is to be able to help people move forward in their lives, even if it's in some small way, irrespective of whether they're part of my UW journey or not. Maybe they're part of my networking journey, or maybe they're just random people that I meet. So if I can add some value for people on their life journey, then that's a job well done as far as I'm concerned.
So you mentioned being made redundant. How long ago was that?
So I was made redundant for the first time in 2004. So I've just hit my 20-year anniversary of being self-employed. I probably should do something on social media about that, shouldn't I?
I possibly would.
I think I should. And all those emotions. So if anyone out there has been made redundant or going through that process, I can fully empathise. It's not nice when a company no longer either needs you or wants you. It just happened that there wasn't any enough money in the company for myself and a few others, so they made us redundant. And it did me a massive favour because I ventured into the world of self-employment. I was doing IT training and I kind of fell into that, and I managed to get a few contracts from people that I knew. But I had to have that happen for me to go self-employed. So when people say...
So you wouldn't have made that jump yourself?
I wonder if I ever would have made that jump. Sometimes I think we need a bit of a push or a prod or encouragement to do things. Maybe we don't quite believe it ourselves. But it's been a fantastic 20-year journey. I'd recommend anyone who's thinking about it just to do it and not wait for somebody else to make that decision for them.
I believe the phrase is necessity is the mother of invention.
Absolutely, and I never look back. It's been really good for me and the family.
So when you were made redundant, because I mean a lot of people have gone through this. I thankfully have never had it. I've never been fired. Christ knows how. I've never been fired. I've been close a few times. But what most people would look at it and go, oh, shit, I need the security. I need to go and get another job.
Yeah.
What made you think I'm not going to do that?
Great question. I was applying for jobs and I was very fortunate, and I know we create our own fortune in life, that I ended up working 3 days a week for 3 months in Sheffield, which is about an hour and a half's journey from home. And I did that for 3 days, Monday to Wednesday. And on the Thursday and Friday, I started developing my own things. So I, with hindsight, and there was some planning, believe it or not, Darren, there was some planning. I had an income for 3 months that was good enough for me to venture and try to launch the IT training that was a success. So my message, if anyone's going to do something for themselves, don't cut yourself off from all options. Maybe have some income coming in from somewhere. It could be a family member, a spouse or partner. It could be some savings, or it could be just scaling down your main job to 2 or 3 days a week to give you that platform to then launch your own thing. And I think when you do your own thing alongside something else, and my UW business is the same for so many people, they run it alongside something else, just takes the pressure away. And you can have more fun and explore and develop things. And out of that creativity, you tend to find a path forward, and that path will generally change. What you set out to do on a self-employed basis often morphs into something else, and usually something that the clients need, not necessarily what you thought they needed when you started.
So it was IT training you initially set up as a self-employed business.
Yeah.
That, I take it that was either the same industry or similar industry that you were made redundant from?
Well, I was running some IT projects for a charity, which I really enjoyed. And a part of the funding required us to do some training. So I went and did the teaching qualification called a PGCE, which I think it's still called that. And that taught you how to set up sessions and deliver and be organised about it. And when I was made redundant, that was the part of my job that I really enjoyed. And that's what I started doing. It's back in the days, Darren, I don't know if anyone's young enough to remember this, or old enough to remember this even, when Microsoft Office wasn't a skill that most people had. So we had to teach people how to use a mouse and how to format text, bold and italics and things like that. So there was some basic stuff rising up to some advanced database work that we did as well with some companies.
But what made you then decide that you've set this new business up, you're running IT training for people, presumably you had clients and it was going well, that you want to diversify and do utility warehouse as well?
Yeah, no, great question. I wasn't looking for something, but there was something inside that I realised in order to scale something up, you either have to run it as a business and have staff, which you do at Engage Web successfully, or you go down a franchise route. And whichever way I looked at it, I couldn't quite see how I was going to scale my IT income where I wasn't doing 7 days a week, 40 hours a day to increase the income. So I was looking for something to run alongside that. The main reason, in fact, for me to join UW as what we call a partner was because I was working on my own a lot and I wanted to be around a different community. So when I went along to an open evening and met some other people who'd bolted it on alongside what they did, and I realised the strength of that positive community, that's what sold it to me, to join that community and develop a secondary income stream alongside the IT training business.
So what year was this that you were first introduced to it?
So I was self-employed 2004. And notice how I said self-employed, not made redundant, so I put a positive spin.
You became self-employed.
Self-employed. I then ran that business for about two years when I again came across a lady who worked for Utility Warehouse, was a partner, we're all self-employed, and she saved me money on my bills. And I really like the ethos and values of the company. We can talk about ethos and values a bit later on if we get there. And I remember she mentioned there was a business opportunity side to it. So I went to an open evening and then decided to get involved very tentatively, very part-time, 2 to 5 hours a week, and never looked back.
And was there any part of you that thought this seems too easy? Because utility warehouse is what's called multi-level marketing.
Correct.
There's a lot of multi-level marketing companies out there, and a lot of people who join multi-level marketing companies like this end up not doing anything. It's just pure numbers. Was there any part of you that thought this seems too good to be true?
Another great question. I didn't know anything about multi-level marketing or network marketing at the time. What I saw behind it was the backing of a major PLC company, Telecom Plus PLC, and because my professional background, my parents worked for the NHS, so I had to have some substance. My upbringing dictated I needed some substance behind whatever I was doing. So the fact there was a PLC company behind it, the fact that you could go and check the share price and made it feel real for me. And I just saw it that I was helping people reduce what they were spending on their bills, so it fitted with my ethics and values. They were already using the everyday services that Utility Warehouse provided: phone, broadband, mobile, energy. So I was just showing them there was a better way, a simpler way to have it all on one bill. I didn't think it'd be so easy to drip feed my stuff into this, Darren. I've learned from the best there.
It's amazing how you can just inject it straight in, isn't it?
So it was, so it was interesting. So it did fit with what I was doing. I was helping people with their IT skills to increase productivity. I was helping people have more money in their wallet to spend on the things that they wanted. And I just treated it as a learning journey. I love learning, and I really enjoyed that part of it, and the training and the learning journey and the sharing of stories and helping other people just ticked all the boxes I needed ticking.
And did you look at any other types of MLM, or have you since, to see how it compares?
I've never come across it before, so the answer there is no. And afterwards, I always look at it from the training and development perspective. But every time, and there's some great companies out there, but every time I looked at what they were doing, I didn't want to develop a customer base or a team base around their products and services. And I think, I know we've said we create our own luck, or I've said it. I think I just got lucky to find something that just met with the values, and I was able to become a part of very early on, and feel valued within that community. There's lots of recognition in what we do, and when you've got customers who've been with you since 2007, which is when I joined as a UW partner, and they continuously tell you, oh, I phoned head office and the customer service was great, or I've just fixed my energy again for another 12 months and thank you for introducing it to me, then you really know that you have added value to people's lives.
See, one thing that's interesting, because I mean, you and me have both been to what's called Mastermind in Orlando.
We have.
Where there's lots of different multi-level marketing companies there, lots of agents on the stage, and people who are superheroes in their industries talking about how they built their teams. Some of them millions and millions of pounds, and there was one over $1 billion that they're actually generating for their team, not individually, not that much. But one thing I've noticed, all of the other MLMs, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they're not necessities, they're product based. They're luxury products. It's beauty, it's skincare, it's health supplements, it's that kind of thing. Whereas when you're in a financial problem like we have had with COVID, those are the things that go.
Yeah.
Whereas Utility Warehouse, you can't say, right, I'm not going to have any electricity for the next 6 months, I'm going to cut down on that. It's a necessity. So I've seen that Utility Warehouse tends to be helping people get through these problems, whereas the other MLMs all took a big hit during this as people were cutting down on their spending. Would that be a right observation of it?
It's my observation, and I've been told by people that I know that have close relationships with other leaders in North America, for example. Their incomes took a big dip in COVID when we were restricted with our movements, and they can't believe how we quite do what we do. I mean, it's very simple. One head office servicing all those products, so overheads are a lot lower. Distribution network for essential services that people, as you say, are using every single day. And then behind the scenes, the stuff that most people don't see, not even our customers, is how hard the company are working behind the scenes to do several things, 3 things. And that is number one. These are in no particular order, but I'll say it because the audience might appreciate me saying it this way. The company have got to make profit out of it. Secondly, the partner network has to be able to make money out of it. And the third one, which is really the most important one, is the customer must benefit from it. And when all those 3 things are ticked, then we just move forward. So we brought insurance services on a few years ago, home insurance, boiler and home cover, and we didn't launch that until that was set up and right for the customer to be able to move forward, and other things will be coming in the pipeline as well.
I mean, one thing that people get involved with other MLMs, Avon, for example, or Juice Pass, Forever Living, it's because they have an interest in the products and they like the products. There can't be too many people listening to this that think, I've got an interest in energy, I've got an interest in broadband. So how do you get the product knowledge or the service knowledge to do this when you're not necessarily passionate about telecoms?
Brilliant. I love you've used the word passion there, because it is a passion. So I've been chatting to a friend of mine this morning who was a product-based business. It links in very well with her healthcare business that she runs on a full-time basis. So you've got to have some connection or passion to the business, but not necessarily the product. So the thing that I latch onto is we're helping people spend less at home. So yes, gas, electric, phone, broadband, it's not sexy or exciting, but it's essential, as you've said. The passion for me is being able to help other people move forward on their life journey with UW as a vehicle to do that. So that's my passion. That's the bit I get excited about, when that new person gathers their first customer, or they get their first, we call it a commission statement, their first payment. And when you see people doing that and they getting excited about that, and linking it to their goals, because everyone joins for a reason. It's either to make a gain, or unfortunately to avoid a pain. There's a lot of pain at the moment out there. So when you see people making small steps or big steps to achieving their goal for joining, that's really where I get my satisfaction from.
Okay. And well, that leads me on to the question. Then you say satisfaction, and that's what you get. What actually gets you out of bed in the morning?
Great question. At the moment, I've had to open my curtain. No, I'm only joking. So this is going to sound quite strange. I like variety in my life. So this morning I've been to a business group in Birkenhead, where I come from originally. So I was excited about going to see other people there. Some I knew, some I didn't know. Yesterday, I'm one of the directors of Halton Chamber of Commerce. Very proud to be involved with them. We had an event yesterday, a networking event there. So that was exciting to get out of bed on a Friday morning. I played table tennis in Ellesmere Port. So the variety for me, and doing the things that you want to do when you want to do them, that's very I find that very, very satisfying, and that's a holy grail, isn't it, to be able to do the things you want to do when you want to do it. I couldn't do that when I worked for the company I was working before I got made redundant. My first ever proper job, I was a McDonald's manager for 5 years.
Oh yes.
And of course that was baptism of fire from a leadership and management perspective. Learned so much about people and process and being part of a successful organisation. But I had no control. I couldn't play football anymore. I was working shifts. So it's just very interesting for me to help people live the lives that they want to lead.
Well, we'll come on to McDonald's in a moment, because that's really interesting. But you mentioned playing table tennis. You mentioned going out to networking and having breakfasts and being on the board of the chamber. Did you say?
Halton Chamber.
Halton Chamber. Now, there's going to be people listening to this who are in full-time employment.
Yeah.
And they're working 9 to 5. Yeah. And they're probably not passionate about the business that they're doing.
Yeah.
But the one thing they're going to be worried about is, I can't go off and do utility warehouse or any other MLM or start my own business because I need to pay the bills.
Yeah.
So what is the potential with utility warehouse?
Yeah, no, that's another good question. When I started, I only could do 2 to 5 hours a week. So I had to give up some things, and those things...
Were they evenings or were they...
Evenings, yeah.
Evenings.
Wednesday, I'll tell you exactly when they were, because I remember. Yeah. Monica was working 12-hour days Monday and Tuesday, so I couldn't do anything Monday or Tuesday, because I was working during the day as well. Wednesday evening between 6 and 8, Thursday evening between 6 and 8, and I tried to snatch a couple of hours on a Saturday morning if someone couldn't see me during the week. So I started off very slowly, and as my income grew on a residual basis, that means getting paid... many times for doing something once, so I had the income coming in. I then scaled down to a 4-day week, then a 3-day week, became a director of the chamber because I freed up the time to do that. But I challenge anyone in a nice friendly way who said they haven't got time, because there's a great phrase by a renowned gentleman who's no longer with us called Jim Rohn, and that is, for things to change, we have to change. So we have to change some of the things we do sometimes. So I've been working on my health and fitness this year. So I had to sacrifice some of those drinking habits, eating habits that I so love for so many years.
You mean the beer machine that I got you to buy? That's
right, yes. We'll probably talk about that later as well, won't we? And Brixton, by the way, is a favourite IPA of mine. I wouldn't have had that.
Brixton IPA? You wouldn't have discovered that if it wasn't for a beer machine.
Correct. No. I was going to say it wasn't for you, but the beer machine.
Well, I'll take the credit.
So for things to change, we have to change. There's got to be that burning hot desire people talk about, but you're not going to have that when you first start something like Utility Warehouse. That hopefully will develop for people over the time. But it's really the changes to one's life. We were at a business event, you and I, this morning, where the pensions advisor was asking for people over the age of 35, and he was saying, because most 20-year-olds aren't thinking about pension, they're thinking about where they're going to go out next. So I want to speak to people who are ready to make that change to improve their lives, and hopefully our business is a vehicle for them. I've got a young guy who started, he's 22, is working for a law firm. He's hungry. He's realised his paycheck, sorry for the American phrase there, isn't quite going to meet his goals. So he started developing an income alongside that. And I'm working with a guy who's 82, Alan Mackay, good friend of ours.
Oh, yes.
And he always says that he's got 3 pensions and it's not good enough. And then everybody else fits in between those two. So if people have got a need or a want, it's certainly worth exploring. Looking at network marketing business just to see, because nobody wants to be tied down. Time is one of the reasons people join. They don't want to be committed to be working on a Friday night and a Saturday morning every week. They want that flexibility, and I think that's one of the things that network marketing businesses offer. People can do what they want when they want to do it on their terms.
Because I think it's important to get across, because I don't know if people listening to this will realise it, but network marketing, this part-time business, is your full-time business.
Correct.
You don't have another business, you don't have another work. This is what you do.
Correct.
How have you made it a full-time business?
Brilliant. Yeah, great. I'm loving your questions, only because it reflects my journey.
Thanks, and I have nothing written down. Sure, and you can confirm this.
Nothing
No
written
questions.
down.
Nothing written down.
No, and that's what scared me, actually, that you've got
Does
nothing
it?
written down. A little bit, yeah. Right, so what happens is, with everything, when you start anything, there are skills to learn, and we've got a great training program. But my journey, and it wasn't an easy journey because I didn't have these skills, I was an IT trainer, I had to learn them, was being able to show how we help people save money, and we've got a process for that now. It wasn't really there when I started. A process for introducing partners, so we show people how the money works, and then we have to coach and teach people to be successful. So within the first year, just doing those few hours a week, I gathered 50 personal customers, we call it. Okay, and maybe 1 or 2 or 1 in 3 joined because the timing was right for them to join. When I started introducing partners, that was scary because I didn't know how to help them and get them started. Now we've got a mentoring program to help people get started, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So there's a big coaching element to what we do, but people don't have to worry about that till they're further down the line. And if people just want to gather customers, that's great. You can earn a great income. And if you remember earlier on, I said I didn't know what to do with my IT business. The scalability in Utility Warehouse is helping and coaching others to do what you've done and to tap them into our UW system. So that coaching and development bit is the bit where you increase your income, because what does John Paul Getty say? It's better to have 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of your own efforts. And I love it because it's ethical. You help people be successful, and you'll be successful as well in that process.
I think there's something you said there which is really important. But you said it really quickly, so I want to pick up on it. It was, you're helping to coach other people to do what you've done.
Yes.
So for someone listening to this who's thinking, I'd love to be able to do that, but I don't know how, whether you join a Utility Warehouse or whether you go to one of the other network marketing companies or whether you start your own business and get a business coach, it's important that the person that you're taking the advice and the learning from has done it themselves and is doing it themselves. Because I've always looked at it 3 ways. Have they done it?
Yeah.
Are they still doing it? Mm-hmm. And do you like them?
Yeah.
Which is important. So you've done all of this, which puts you in a much stronger position to show other people how they can do it. Because there's a lot of frauds out there who say, oh yeah, you can do this, it's really easy, you can earn this much money, and they're not doing it themselves. They're just trying to get other people to believe that they can do it, which is where, and I'm going to use the phrase,
Go on.
I'm going to use the phrase pyramid scheme comes in.
Okay, yeah.
Because that's obviously an objection that a lot of multi-level marketing companies get thrown at them, that they are pyramid schemes, whereby the people bringing them on aren't actually earning the money themselves.
Sure.
They only earn the money by bringing more on, and then they earn the money by bringing more on. And the more people you bring on, the more money you earn. But no one's really earning any money anyway. Explain to me how that's different.
Okay, yeah, no, that's something I don't hear as much anymore, and it tends to be from older people. So it's interesting that you mentioned it. So my first, I always ask people what do they mean by that, because a lot of people don't actually know what they're saying. They're just throwing up the question, and it's not always an objection. They're just sometimes either testing you or just trying to get some clarity. So one of the ways I explain it, and where UW's different from other companies, there are products and services, and as you said before, you said it, so it must be true, and that is. There's products and services there, and the company are in effect, and this is written in our plan. We and people can look at this on the stock exchange website. We profit share with our customers, or the company profit shares with their partner network. So that's the commission, if you like. So we don't spend money on traditional TV and adverts and things like that. The other big utilities and telecoms companies do. So we save money that way. And in turn, the money, there is a joining fee. Are you sitting down, Darren?
I'm sitting down. I'm sitting down.
It's £10.
Whew. That's come down a lot from what it used to be.
It was 200 when I joined, and the company, my understanding is they wanted to make it more accessible to people. £200 when I joined 2007 was a lot of money. I discussed it with my wife that I'll be spending this money, and if you wanted to, we had a conversation about it. Whereas if I buy you a drink when we're out, it's more than £10, isn't it? Around a drink,
yeah,
it's more than £10. So the company have made it very, very accessible. And the other thing, and I don't know if the other companies have this, we're a major PLC company. So everything we do was responsibility to the shareholders. You can do your due diligence and have a look around it. And there's some of the things that I share. But the number one thing that I love about it, when I bring a new partner on and we go and see a customer, they get paid, but we get paid as well, but we get paid less than them because it's their customer, their contact. Right. So the company are wanting us to help people. We get financially remunerated for that. Let's get that word wrong. But they get paid the most. So again, ethics and values, it fits very well in there for me.
Okay.
Don't know if that answered your question.
It certainly did. It certainly did. So you mentioned McDonald's earlier.
I did.
McDonald's, which... So I'm a big advocate of procedures within a business.
Yeah.
I don't create procedures myself because I am a ball of chaos. But we have an Alan upstairs who creates all of our procedures for us.
Brilliant. Everyone needs an Alan by the sounds of things.
Everyone needs an Alan, and there's even a procedure for creating procedures.
Right.
People think I take the piss when I say that, but it's genuinely true. McDonald's is possibly the most procedurized business ever.
Yeah.
And you were the manager of a McDonald's franchise store, is that correct?
Not a franchise, the company were owned. So I was in the West End of London.
Oh, so it was owned by McDonald's.
It was owned by McDonald's. They were too clever because it brought in so much money. They didn't franchise them out at that time. They kept them all company owned. I think it was about 35, 40 stores within central London. So like any one who graduates from university thinking they're going to own the world, I ended up working for McDonald's. Which was that baptism of fire because I was running shifts in a restaurant, managing the staff at the age of 23, which I think is very young to be doing something like that and telling people considerably older, what to do and when to do it. But as you mentioned, it's very systemized. And I don't know when you said it, but you'll appreciate this because you like your films as well. We used to have a big manual as parodied, is that right? Parodied in the film Coming to America with Eddie Murphy.
Right.
So that big thick manual, you see the burger joint owner trying to copy. Yeah. It was that thick of procedures for everything from how to clean the milkshake machine down to how to make a burger, how to do everything. Everything was written down. It was very good and very easy to learn as well. So
you mentioned learning and development earlier and personal development and improvement. What did you pick up from McDonald's in terms of like key skills that you use now?
Yeah, so a lot of it was people skills, coaching, nurturing, rapport building, having a laugh and getting the job done at the same time. They're very difficult skills. Anyone who's been involved in personal development or coaching will know there's 4 different personality types, and a leader needs to flex in and out of those personality types. So I'll give you an example. There'd be people that the audience know who are very task driven, and there'd be people out there who are very what's the word I'm looking for? Non-task driven is the easy answer, but people who just want to have fun. And you've got to find a way when you're leading and managing people to flex around their personality. And within all of us, we're all chameleons. We can flex within ourselves. So I can write procedures and be detailed, but I like a drink as well. So I can flex in and out of those types. I like to help people. And I can be quite direct and driven at times if I'm want to achieve a particular goal or target, or in fact, if I'm playing table tennis. So I think it's important to understand yourself, and then apply that to helping communicate more effectively with others. The great thing about processes and systems is that if things aren't working, so in our business, there's several different things. So we need to know people's goals, why they've joined, because you're helping them achieve their goals. We then build a contact list of people they might go and show what we do to, and we encourage them to show people they know first. Then we need to get in front of those people, and then we need to present to those people. So when I'm chatting with people who've maybe been in the team for a while and we've gone beyond our mentoring time of a month to 2 months, I can usually pinpoint where things haven't quite worked as they should. And part of that is coaching, but it's mostly about the process. So they got in front of them to present to them, so they did the first steps okay, but maybe there's something in the presentation that they missed out or forgot, which they shouldn't, because it's a process and we show everyone everything. So that for me is it's almost like being a detective to help people understand where they might do better, so that next time they will do better.
And I've done a lot of personality profiling myself, as you can imagine, and as you probably know, I'm a direct person, a red. Which means I don't care what the other profiles are, because that's what we Reds are like. We just don't give a shit. There's other people that beat around the bush. There's people who are all touchy-feely and waffly-smoffly, and we don't care. Yeah. So what personality type are you?
So there's different ways. Some people call them animals or colours and things like that. So I'm told I'm the detailed person, but I don't think I am. But that's what people think I am.
Which colour is a green, I believe.
We call it the green in utility warehouse language. Yeah. So I like a good spreadsheet. Okay. So sorry guys, but I do like a good spreadsheet.
An IT guy that likes a good spreadsheet.
I know, it's hardly surprising. And I think a spreadsheet is a good place to start, which is why I'm that personality. When I'm chasing a goal or a target, we talk about either flexing, as I mentioned, or turning up the dial. So if I'm speaking to someone who's more cuddly or likes to help a lot of people, more so than you or I, because we do like to help people as well, both of us, I then have to dial down. To dial down that red and dial up, we call it yellow, dial up that caring, sharing side of me, which is in there, but maybe not as prevalent as on a daily basis. So, but to be successful, I think as a leader, you have to be self-aware, understand why you are like you are, which is natural nature, and then understand how to communicate effectively with others. So if I've got a team member who is, we'll talk about that yellow personality, who's caring and quiet, and I've got to be more patient than normal. I usually phone them when I'm in the car, so I've got it's time when I'm not going to do anything else, so I can listen and empathise a bit more. If I'm talking to, I've just talked to a lovely lady, Nicola, on the way in. She's a nail technician, a great member of the team, doing really well. She likes to party and have a good time and a good laugh, so she's over in Rotherham, so we'll meet halfway and we'll have lunch, very, very sociable. So I think reading and understanding and then applying these things are very important, not just only in business, but with family members. There'll be some family members that people don't get on with, maybe cousins, and once you understand how you are and maybe the personality type that they are, then you doesn't mean you'll get on necessarily better with them, but if you want to, you can do, and you'll probably appreciate why they are how they are and be more accepting.
So what you're saying is you've learned the training that you've had, you've now applied it to personal life and know how to handle awkward family members. I
was going to say, it doesn't work with very close family members, because you always revert back to type, because they know you they know you so well. So, but it is interesting. So my wife, who is a much better leader than I am, she's very chameleon, very patient, but she's also driven and determined and gets things done. So I think it's important. I think these things should be taught in school. I think about other people, because we do a lot about neurodiversity at the moment in education and how different everybody is, and we try and tailor what we do to match that personality type, especially in the formal workplace. I know they're doing a lot of work on that. I was at a seminar recently, so very useful to understand that, I think.
Do you know, I was at a training last night because I've just become a trustee for Wirral NCAP.
Ah, great.
So I was at a training for working with people with learning disabilities, and one of the aspects of the training was about communicating with people in the way they want to be communicated with. So whether that is spoken, whether that is sign language, whether that is visual, whether that is video, just talk to them in how they like to be communicated with. And I thought that applies to business as well. You need to speak to people in the way they like to be communicated with, otherwise you're not going to get anywhere. Because some people like to use WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Some people like the phone. Some people like face-to-face. Some people like email. Some people are allergic to WhatsApp. And if you try to communicate with somebody in the wrong style, it's not going to work with them and you're not going to get anywhere. So I thought that what they're training for people with learning disabilities is applicable to any business as well. So it was a really useful training because it's highlighting how we're all the same. We all have our own little quirks in how we like to be communicated with. If my phone rings, I don't answer it. I can't remember the last time I've answered the phone, even if it's someone I think it was you.
It was me.
It was you. Normally, I won't pick it up.
Right.
Because I'll think, well, they can leave me a voicemail, and I'm not listening to that either.
Have you got many friends, Darren?
No, not really. No, I haven't. No.
I know you do. I know you do.
No.
But it's interesting because talking about learning and development, I believe we should always be learning something. So I'm on Saturday, which is very soon, I'm going to go on my first day to learn to be a table tennis coach.
Right.
And the reason I'm doing it is twofold. Is so I can help out on a Monday evening with some of the younger adults that come along and help them develop. But also I'll know I'll become a better player if I understand a little bit more about table tennis and how to hit the ball correctly and how to stand in a better place, even though I've had some lessons, etc. So I always think you need to be learning and developing in some way yourself. Personal development traditionally is listening to CDs, podcasts like this, or reading. And, different people learn in different ways. And that's going to be a kinesthetic way of learning because it's going to be very practical and hands-on as opposed to reading or listening to something. So I'm really, really excited about that. And we'll see how it goes.
Okay. You have massively exceeded the number of times the words table tennis has been mentioned in any of my podcasts. So I'm going to take the hint. Go on, Sauren. Tell us about your table tennis.
Well, I've become obsessed, to be honest. Can you tell?
I can tell.
So what happens, ladies and gents, when you reach a certain age, you have to be more mindful of your health and your digestive system. Okay?
Right, okay.
So I got to the stage where I was enjoying my beer and my food a little bit too much, and I wasn't sleeping and all the rest of it. And I don't like diets. I know there's some great diets out there, and we lost some weight, Monica and I, on Slimming World, which worked very well for us. But I've always believed that life is about the way you live your life. I've always believed that, but never put any of it into action. So I went along to a table tennis session almost a year ago to the day. There's a lot of anniversaries in April. And in that time, I've lost probably a stone and 3/4 in weight. I'm a lot fitter. I can run up and down the stairs instead of huff and puff up and down the stairs. And I just feel great. I'm watching my nutrition better. That's still work in progress. Exercise, I'm doing table tennis maybe 6 hours a week. And I'm a big believer that you need to find something that's going to keep you fit and healthy. I don't believe walking will do it on its own, although I was doing a lot of walking throughout lockdown. I think you've got to get that heart rate up and have a lot of fun. And the people I've met and the friends I've made has been amazing. And I've really enjoyed that journey, and revisiting something that I played when I was a youngster and mixing with people from the age of 20 up to, I think Mike that I play with is 77. Is phenomenal, and these guys, they're in the 70s. They look like they're in the late 50s.
Wow.
So table tennis must be good in some way, and I'm hoping it'll have that effect on me too.
So this is something you're hoping you're still playing when you're in your 70s?
Well, I'm hoping, yeah, and the aches and the joint pains and things like that. I do believe a lot of nutrition is responsible for so much, and there's a great book that I've read called Fiber Fueled. I don't know if we'd be recommending other books on here.
Other books are available.
Yeah, Fiber Fueled, and it just explains about how different foods affect the body in different ways. And I thought it was very very interesting. To I'm a low level student of it. But I think if people are eating a balanced diet and getting that exercise we hear time and time again, and I'm not a health expert, 3 times a week for 20 minutes, I think that's great. But I have become very obsessed. We should probably change the subject, Darren, because I'd happily hijack the conversation about table tennis for the next few minutes.
Yeah, go on then. You've had your table tennis out of the way. We mentioned learning and development. We mentioned Mastermind. Well, I think I mentioned Mastermind, which is the event in Orlando. I think the last one was in Turkey.
It was Antalya, Turkey, just a few months ago.
Tell us a little bit about that. What is it?
So, Mastermind is an event, non-for-profit, that is run by some of the top ethical network marketers across the world.
That's an important distinction, and we're going to pick up on that in a moment.
Okay, great. And I've mentioned that word a few times. And it's all about helping people move forward with their network marketing businesses. Now, I know this because I've been in a while. I forget who says it now, you'll tell me. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe it can achieve. Is it Napoleon Hill? I think it's Napoleon Hill.
I don't know. I'll take your word for that.
Yeah, and this is a big thing. So the number one thing that tends to stop people being successful tends to be themselves. I'm not an expert on the brain, but I pick these little things up as I go along. But the brain is designed to protect ourselves. So think about fight and flight and all those sorts of things. So whenever we do something new, the brain's initial response is, no, let's not do that. You've never done it before. Let's protect ourselves, stay at home, not go out, not speak to people, etc. People who succeed in life are not you, etc., etc. So part of it is helping people create self-belief, recognition, self-development. Some people get to speak on the stage and deliver their stories. And one of the things that I love about big events, and we do a utility warehouse event once a year in Telford, one of the ideas is when you see people being successful, you think to yourself, if they can do it, I can do it. And I think that's quite key, and we get to share ideas and things like that as well. So think about people like you, but maybe 2,000 of them, and mixing and laughing and joking and socialising and getting to know people better. It's not just a holiday, although we did enjoy some time relaxing as well. But I always believe that if you're good at what you do and you want to get better, you should look at developing yourself just slightly outside of what you do. So I'll probably learn stuff on table tennis coaching that will help me coach and develop the team, because I've got to put together some practical exercises, whereas a lot of teaching and training is not hands-on, it's not kinesthetic, it's 60 slides or 120 slides, and people don't learn like that. People learn best by doing and being engaged and involved.
Yeah, and a lot of the talks at Mastermind on the big stage were sort of inspirational. This is how they're motivating teams. This is how they've got to where they are. But there's also smaller rooms as well, isn't it? There's little breakout rooms where you get a real practical advice in as well. I was in one with Big Al.
Yep.
Who we've seen speak in the UK, and then we went out to Florida and seen him speak as well, which seems very, very strange. Following the little fella all the way out there. And the advice he was giving was about how to get over initial objection and to start a conversation so that people are interested in what you say.
Yeah.
Because too many businesses, and we saw it again at this networking meeting we were at this morning, they try to info dump everything about themselves, how they do, what their product is, what their service is, how it impacts everything in one 60-second pitch, which is not 60 seconds because it just sort of expands. But it's too much. It's about how you say something that gets somebody going, what? Tell me more about that. I really want to know. So whether you're in a network marketing business or not, I got shitloads from it just being there. And there's skills particularly from Big Al in particular, that's really poor English, particularly from Big Al, that I actually use in pitches now. I use in conversations. I use in 60-second talks. So the skills transcend multi-level marketing.
Absolutely, and one of the things that I've not mentioned, if you'd asked me what's your superpower that you brought to your business at the start of it, I like to think mine is language, because I did some dead languages, as my wife calls them, Latin and Ancient Greek, at university. So I understood language structure and syntax and extensive vocabulary, I think you'll call it, which is ironic because business is about keeping things simple and using simple terms and words. And a lot of what we say determines the outcomes we get. So I'll give you an example for free. I hope you like this one, by the way. I really like it. But if I ask, how soon can we meet? I'm free on Friday or Saturday. Apparently, the brain is wired to pick one of those two options. And if one of those two options is free, you'll pick one. If it's not free, you'll suggest a third one. So whereas if I said, when can we meet? You'll think, well, we've got summer holidays coming up. Let's meet in October.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to get that meeting with you earlier, or get you to take a look what I'm doing earlier. So some people will call it sales language now. I just think it's influencer language. You're influencing conversations to go down a path that you want to go to, but ultimately the person won't meet with you, or the customer won't buy from you unless number one, they need it, or you can show them how you create a need for them, or you show them how they can benefit in a better way with what you've got.
Yeah, that's called the alternate close,
right?
In sales language. Yeah, you're giving someone two options.
Yeah.
Neither of those options are no, I don't want it, or no, I don't want to speak to you. Another one would be, how would you like to pay for that, cash or card?
Brilliant. Yeah, and they've
you're
used
not
that for
saying,
years.
Would you like it?
Yeah.
You're not giving them the option to say no. And then the other one, of course, is the assumptive close, where you're assuming somebody is going to go along. So rather than asking them, are you going to come along to my networking on Friday, it's, who would you like to bring with you?
Brilliant.
Or are you coming yourself, or are you bringing somebody with you? So I'm assuming you're coming. Is it just yourself or someone else? Not, are you coming? It's not giving someone the opportunity to say no. They still could, of course. They still could turn around and go, actually, no, I can't make it. But you're taking the option out of the conversation. And
some of you listening on this, you might think that this is not ethically right. But what I've found is the opposite. Sometimes people just need that encouragement, extra encouragement to come along. If you use some of the language that you mentioned there, they already feel welcomed, because you're expecting them to come. You want them to come. I remember when I was a teenager, and you're going out to nightclubs or parties, and maybe you didn't feel as though you belonged there. You'd be trying to talk yourself out of not going, even though you very much wanted to go. And one of the things that I've noticed in my UW journey, people want to be part of something bigger than themselves. Now, you and I are big Liverpool big Liverpool fans, aren't we? So we're part of that community when we go there. We're part of business groups, and I'm in mine because of the community there, as well as we're helping each other get business. Some people, it might be the church or the round table or something like that. So this sense of community and belonging, I think, is very important for our well-being, because we're not built to be on our own for long periods of time, I believe.
One thing you mentioned when we were talking about Mastermind is that it's all of the ethical MLMs that get together to put that on, to show people how they can achieve and inspire them and motivate them. What's an unethical MLM?
That's a very, very good question. Okay. So I think what sprung to mind when you said that is people doing something for their gains. So I'll give you an example without naming the person, because that would be wrong. But there's a chap who was a guest speaker at our utility warehouse event about 10 years ago, and we didn't want him to come to speak in the end because he had a habit of trying to take the network he was speaking at away into his own network. That is not ethical. Okay, because that is doing something for your own personal gains above other people's needs. So people want the information, they look up to you. And you've mentioned it already, people who are putting on courses saying, do this, do that, come and learn from me. Come and learn to be a coach from me. I see this a lot of the time. I'm a qualified business coach, that I developed those skills. I want to help my team more in my UW business. And a lot of people want to take your money to teach you how to develop a coaching business, but not be a coach. They're just trying to get you in to deliver the content. So I think people have to use what we call discernment. I've stolen that from one of the guys from Mastermind, Art Jonak. We have to do I've internalized that as we have to do our due diligence. Is it right? Is it ethical? Does it fit with my values? Those of you listening to this will know salespeople that you've been sold to in the past. They just want the sale. They're not interested in long-term relationships. So we just have to be very wary of doing things in the right way. And what I love about UW is the fact that, okay, it's £10 to register. Company gives access to a whole gamut of resources and training resources, probably too much for new people to look at, truth be known. And we want people to be successful. And something that no one will know listening to this, even if they're in UW, they are now messaging from NHQ or head office, people who've not done anything for a bit, just to see if we can help them in some way. Mm-hmm. So that nurturing and looking after is not just me or local partners with their team. The company wants everyone to be successful. So that's ethical. They just don't want numbers. They want people to come in and make a difference to their lives.
Mm. And that brings us on, because we're almost running out of time now, but that brings us on to something you talked about right near the very beginning, that Utility Warehouse had the values that aligned with yours.
Yeah.
So what are those values of UW and you that were so in alignment?
Brilliant. So great thing. Now, I actually know my 5 values, but not off by heart, even though they're on my chart. So it makes me wonder whether they're the real ones, but they're the ones that come out when I've done the values questionnaire, we call it. So the number 1 for me is balance. So my core value is balance, the number 1 value, and that means I don't like conflict. I want everybody to be happy. I want it to be a win-win-win situation, win for me in UW, my new partner in UW, and the company. Everyone's got to win. And when there's discord or difficult conversations, even though I'll deal with them, I don't like to. I want everything to be hunky-dory and everyone to be benefiting. And the second one is around development. And under that is personal development. So developing myself, developing others, etc. So the fifth value, which I realised at the end, was I want to have fun and have that variety. So the fifth one should probably be the first one. So when I look at everything that UW do, so the fun one, for example, the company have got a lovely lady who's been involved with about 3 years. She's in charge of incentives and making fun things happen and getting everyone together and having that party atmosphere from a traditionally dry PLC company when I joined 16, 17 years ago to this fun entity that everybody wants to be part of, a bigger community. It just ticks all those values, everything the company does, and I feel very honoured and very privileged to be part of that. And I like to think I've had some influence in that in some small way.
Fantastic. And as a final thing, anyone listening to this thinking, I like the cut of Sauren's jib, I'd like to get in touch with him about how I can do what he's doing and I can earn what he's earning, which should be no problem at all, I'm sure.
No problem.
What's the best way for someone to get in touch with you?
Yeah, I was going to say Google me, but no one will be able to spell my name, so hopefully that'll pop up on the...
all they're going to get is the Eye of Sauron, you know that.
I know, it's worrying. So, if they go to www.ghosh, spelled GHOSH.info, that will take you to my UW partner site, and my contact details are there. But if you Google my name, SAUREN, and then the last name Ghosh, GHOSH, I don't think there's many of me.
So, I don't think there is.
No. So you'll be able to contact me via LinkedIn or Facebook. Or you can even phone me on 07710 744 350. I would love to hear from you. I don't do that. I sometimes do that, but I don't do that.
I will put those links and the phone number below the podcast.
Brilliant.
So anyone listening to this on iTunes or Spotify, they'll be in the description. Anyone watching this on YouTube, it's right below in the description, and you can go through and visit and meet Sauren. That's how you pronounce it. Sauren, for those who aren't sure. So many people. Are you sure? It's Sauren. See? Easy to go. Thank you, Sauren.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on. It's been a pleasure. It's a bit like I haven't seen you since this morning, because I haven't. But there we go. Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you.